Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year. It's 2021 already and it's supposed to be a better year than last year, right? So in order to do that, at least for me, I don't like New Year's resolutions. I'm more of someone who's primarily focused on short, mid, and long-term goals. So for me, it's more attainable to set those three different goals, right? Because anybody can have a long-term goal of being the best weightlifter in California, let's say, for example. But if you make some shorter-term goals and some mid-term goals, that's eventually going to roll into that long-term goal. So for me, at least, one of my short-term goals is to build stronger lats. Basically, we need those stronger lats to lift heavier weights. So in order for me to do that, I feel like I need to just implement a lot more exercises directly focused on my lats. Hopefully, I'll be able to get more dumbbells in my lovely home gym here. And, we can always do some of these pulls as you see that I'm doing as well. I think last year was a huge plus in terms of my back strength, in terms of keeping that lever strong and not hitching or getting any sagging with my back, because that used to be a huge thing where if I caught a heavy clean, my back would completely round and it would be disgusting. And I would feel that for at least a whole week. And, that would hurt my training overall, right? Because a week of not having a strong back and being extremely sore because of incorrect movement and, lack of strength in that area could just really build negative momentum we really don't want to do. So again, the short-term goal for me would just build stronger lats. And what I really liked and what emphasized that in the last program we did was a lot of extra movements, a lot of bent over rows, a lot of deficit clean pulls. Those are extremely tough, especially for tall people. You really need to get those hips down and tighten those lower lats in order to get that correct movement. So that's something where we definitely I'm gonna talk with my coach about it. If I can just put more load, more work capacity into the program that we're gonna do, because you got to be careful while doing that, because you can definitely overdo it. And it sounds simple, right? Hey, just don't overdo it. But sometimes when things aren't programmed correctly, then it again builds that negative momentum that we really, really, really don't want. So that's something where I am not able to do programming. I don't know the beautiful scientific workings of how to build a program. Maybe I'll learn that this year too, because that probably would help. But that's kind of where I consult a coach for, because he has a decade's worth of experience of programming and looking at different inconsistencies of different lifters, with a miss right there, and what helped them overcome those deficits, right? If you have a weak back, this is how we fixed it in athlete A. So there's just a whole lot of different things that we can do, and what we'll do to make sure that I can get better on just keeping a stronger back, right? Because I can have all the leg strength in the world, but if I can't hold that load with a strong back, then what's the point, right? So, again, that's something that's always been, I would say, one of my weaker points is back strength, I would say. Correct back strength, I should say. Let me correct myself, because I definitely have back strength, but it's just not efficient, right? So that's something where once I get those things fixed, then the kilos are going to start moving exponentially for sure. So I would say one of my midterm goals, I would say for this year, is to consistently snatch over 100 kilos without it feeling or looking like 100 kilos. So this year, I would say 90 kilos, between 95 kilos, so around 198 to around 208 pounds. Felt way better and way more consistent and didn't look like that weight at all. So I used to be a little apprehensive taking that weight mentally because that was a weight it was always inconsistent, right? in the back of my head, that's always something that really nagged at me, where I was like, man, I gotta string these together, or I gotta hit these in a row. You just really, you always want to put emphasis on certain weights, but in a positive way. So this year was way better in terms of that, and I was very happy about my progress during last year. I should stop doing. Another thing where I take heavier attempts around the 90 kilo range is my head placement. So you can see it a little bit. Well, you can see it right there. Is where if I catch something, I tend to poke my head a little bit too forward like that, and that's something where at heavier weights, that makes me miss it basically. And for me, it's more of, I feel like I'm pushing with my arms, but my head does the movement instead, which is super odd. My coach said that it's like, why are you like a turtle? Like a turtle pokes his head out of the shell and brings it back. Like, why are you doing that? He's like, keep the neck neutral. Just keep it neutral, because where your head goes, the bar path is going to go. And I did see that happening at heavier weights, where I would miss in front of me because I would just be out of position. So, I can get away with it at 90% or even 95%, but when I start getting to 100% or taking max weights, that's when I miss those lifts. So it's just being more relaxed in the bottom position and keeping my whole body in neutral that I'll get that habit away. That's something, again, that's probably been one of those subconscious habits that I've had for a very long time. And that's why I film myself, because I can see these things after the fact. And when I go into my next day, I really emphasize, okay, I've seen my head going forward, or my wrist not turning over, or I'm jumping forward, or I'm soft in the catch. And then just try to pick at least one or two of those things max and just refocus on that. And again, it's the whole concept of getting 1% better, because that 1% is going to eventually build momentum, positive momentum in this case, and it's going to help fix those little small inconsistencies. So moving on to the long-term goal. So for me, at least, the long-term goal is to compete again. With the circumstances that are going around in the world currently, that's something where hopefully towards the end of the year, that'll be something that us as a team, we can do again. And for me, those are my favorite times to lift, basically, right? Because it's all of your hard work being showcased in front of everybody. The raw level of competition and just the peace of mind. Oh, that was an ugly miss. The peace of mind and just, I guess, the tranquility in a sense, where nothing lives in my brain during the competition. And that's a level of peace that is very addicting, and that's something that really brings joy to my heart. Because it's just, I'm here for one reason, and I'm gonna fulfill that reason, and at the end of the day, I sleep so good. And again, it's competing against people, and I love people and I love competing, so it's two of the best things there. So hopefully it's either going to be an in-person meet. That's something that's not in my control, unfortunately, but as long as that meet is safely ran, then I'm all for it. But in the other case, you may have to do an online competition, and that's something that might be a little bit interesting. These are a couple of max attempts here. So close. Ah, man. The reason why I missed that there, I didn't finish the extension, and that haunts me because it's so close. It's literally 3 more inches of extension that would have made that. But that's probably the closest I've been. That's a good miss, is what I call it, at 104 kilos, which is 3 kilos away from my all-time max. So back to competing. That is something hopefully that will happen this year, and I just want to be mentally ready for that, because there's just something. Those are such a miss. Those are some things where you just can't recreate that atmosphere. and that's something that is going to happen regardless of the setting this year. Thank you guys for watching the video, and hopefully you can plan out some short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals like myself. And wishing you nothing but the best in this whole new year to come, and let's get after it. I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks. Bye.